Hi guys and welcome back to the Mighty Blues. My name is of course Cameron and welcome back today to another live stream. It is Friday. I hope you all have had a great week and I'm looking forward to the weekend, although it's probably going to be spent exactly like your week was, obviously because we are all self-isolating at the moment, or we're all in quarantine and the country is in lockdown in order to obviously attempt to contain this absolutely evil virus that is going around and that is affecting and harming so many people. And in today's live stream I thought I'd steer away a little bit from transfer talk or talk about the captaincy or talk about, other news. There's a little bit of news that we could talk about Everton wise in terms of the stadium, obviously, and the fact that that's still going to go ahead as planned, but I thought we'd steer away from all of that and just have a live stream where we give our appreciation to not only the NHS workers but all key workers who are working their absolute bollocks off to save other people's lives and are risking their lives to save other people. I've got a load of people within my family and within my friends group that work for the NHS, that work in the social care environment, that work in banking, that are all still having to go into work every single day and risk their lives in order to save others at the end of the day. And that's what it's about. It's heroic. It really, really is heroic. And we watch superhero films and as a kid you watch your Spider-Mans, you watch your Batmans, you watch your Avengers, and you're sort of sitting there as a child, and even some adults may be sitting there thinking, I'd love to be a superhero, I wish I was a superhero, or imagine superheroes were real. Well, superheroes are real, and we're starting to see them now in the wake of everything that's going on at the moment, not just in this country, but all around the world. We're starting to see who the real superheroes are. The superheroes are the people that are working for the NHS, that are going in the front line. It's the front line workers, and for me, this is a war. This is the closest thing we've had since the wars in terms of, a situation where the country really, really does need to come together and we have to fight against this evil, if you like, in this virus. And those NHS workers, those social care workers, those people that are on the front line, that are risking their lives every day, are the soldiers on the front line, as it says, and are risking their lives. And I thought, today we'd sit back a little bit and we'd just appreciate them. And what I want you to do if you're watching live is get your nice messages in, get your nice thoughts in. Let's have some appreciation for the people that are working in the NHS, the people that are there in the hospitals, facing this virus firsthand, that are putting their lives at risk and making sure that they're working long hours all day, all night to make sure that other people are able to recover from this virus. And I think it's really, really important that after this is over and when everything's calmed down a little bit and we can start to go out and we can go to the pub and we can go to the restaurants and we can go and watch our favourite football teams, I think it's really, really important that when we're doing those and when we're partaking in those luxuries, because they are luxuries, we're also thinking about the people that have risked their lives and the people that have gave their lives in order to allow us to have those luxuries. Because at the end of the day, they are heroes. Like I said, when kids are growing up watching superhero films thinking, I want to be a superhero when I grow up, can I be a superhero? We should be telling them, listen, you might have a fancy suit and a nice shield, or you might have a suit that lets you fly, or you might be able to climb walls, but you can go and work at the NHS and you can be a real hero. And it's not just in this country, it's worldwide as well. But I wanted to today, like I said, move away from Everton specifically, move away from football specifically, but I'm going to give some examples of situations within football that have required emergency services and have required the NHS and have required people that are working on the front line to be there in those times in order to save people's lives effectively. Obviously, before today, the Premier League were looking on radical and quite frankly disgusting measures to bring the Premier League back and to bring football back whilst everything's still going on and whilst it's very clearly not safe to do so. I am happy to announce, and I will give credit where credit's due, the Premier League have come out today and they said that they're not going to start football again. They're not going to restart football unless it's absolutely at 100% safe to do so. Obviously, this comes after the rumours yesterday about the fact that they may take it over to China, and then they want to do anything in order to finish this season off, which is absolutely dreadful. So Obviously, you know, the Premier League have come out and they've said that they're not going to start football again unless it's safe to do so, and that's exactly the right decision, and that's exactly what should have been made. Now, whether we have our opinions on whether it should be void or not, at the end of the day, it's a little bit irrelevant at the moment. The fact is that they've finally come out and they've said, listen, we're not going to start up football, we're not going to start up this competition unless it's absolutely safe to do so. They've also committed to immediately pledging £20 million to the NHS, which is also fantastic as well. Like I said, you all know if you watch this channel regularly, you all know I've got my issues about the Premier League and about the FA, etc. But you have to give credit where credit's due, and you know, it's fantastic that they're doing that, because at the end of the day, you know, I did want to take this live stream, and sometimes it does, you know, it is important to sit back and just think, you know what, there's people out there that genuinely would, you know, people that you've never met before. If you, and God help nobody does, touch wood, nobody does watching this video or you know, listening to this, but if anybody was to, you know, contract this evil virus or for that reason become ill in any form, whether it be through COVID-19, whether it be through, you know, I don't know, breaking your ankle, breaking your leg, you know, having dementia, my nan's got dementia, through anything, the NHS, people that you've never met before, people that you might never meet again after you leave hospital, they will be there to put their heart and put 100% of everything that they have in order to save people's lives who effectively, you know, they've not met, they've got no loyalty to, but it shows what type of human beings they are, and they are the utmost of best human being on this planet. People that are working for the NHS, people that are working in social care, people that are working, even supermarket workers at the moment, people that are working in banks, people that are working on emergency services, the services that simply cannot stop. They have to keep running to allow this country to run, and they have to keep running to be able to save lives and to be able to keep the country in some form of structure at the moment, in a time when it's really, really tough to do so. They are the real heroes, and like I said, your kids mightn't be able to get a fancy suit or a fancy shield or a suit that climbs walls, but at the end of the day, they can become a hero by simply working for, you know, for the NHS or working in social care, or at the end of the day, giving their life to help others. And that's exactly what we're seeing at the moment, and we're seeing it in fantastic fashion, and we're seeing genuine heroes every single day, videos of heroes. And you know what, I'm absolutely made up. I stood on my doorstep yesterday and I clapped, and I was a little bit emotional, to be honest with you, because in my family I've got, you know, my girlfriend who's working, you know, in banking and is in every single day. I've got my mum who works in social care. She works with adults with learning disabilities. My dad works in social care with young people, providing semi-independent accommodation. My sister works in the same environment as my father. My girlfriend's mum works directly in the NHS, in the Royal Liverpool Hospital, in the face of the virus, literally staring it in the face, fighting it every single day. And I've never ever been so proud, as so proud of those people as I was last night, standing outside clapping and seeing everybody else standing outside clapping. My next door neighbour works for the NHS. She's a nurse. She's fighting it. She was talking about how hard it is and how difficult it is, and how the fact that they're just getting split left, right and centre. Because at the moment at the NHS, you know, unless you know somebody, unless you know somebody who works in the NHS, you mightn't know. But it's not just a case of, you know, obviously the hospitals have different departments, and somebody might work on eyes, somebody might work on, you know, treatment of broken bones, somebody may work on something else. At the minute, everybody's working together to fight this virus. Everybody is in the same boat, and it's really important that we appreciate these people. Like I said, every single key worker that's out there putting their life at risk in order to save others and in order to help others and in order to keep this country going. Please get your messages in the comment section down below. I'll read them out, and let's show some thanks to these people. Let's really show some thanks to these people, because they absolutely deserve it. And you know what, I hope at the end of this, I'm not going to make this political, because it's not meant to be political, and I didn't want to come on here and make a big political splurge and a big political speech. But you know what, at the end of this, obviously, we've seen people come together, we've seen people stand outside the doorsteps, we've seen people clapping, it's fantastic. But we've also seen certain politicians, we've also seen the Prime Minister stand outside, and he showed his appreciation. And you know what, a lot of people say that's fair enough. He's gone out, he's clapped, he's shown his appreciation. He, you know, with the whole support the NHS, save lives, he's been a part of that too. He has, and you know, you can congratulate him if you want to congratulate him. But what I want to say is to Boris Johnson and to all of those politicians that are there that have got the power to make make the decisions. You know, when this is all over and it's all calmed down and there's people that, you know, are finally getting a week at home with their family who have spent the last however many months fighting this virus, hardly seeing their family, having to be isolated from their family because they're saving other people. I hope you really, really take into consideration a massive, massive pay rise for these people and give them what they deserve, because it wasn't that long ago that certain politicians and certain members of the government were slagging the NHS down and even contemplating selling it, you know, and you know, contemplating dropping the wages of doctors and nurses, etc. So I hope, you know, when Boris Johnson's standing outside clapping, and you know, a lot of people will say, you know, that's nice of him and that's fair enough because he's supporting. I hope he's thinking as well, you know what, maybe when this is all over and everything's calmed down, maybe we need to start treating the NHS as heroes, because at the end of the day, from the top of the country, they're not treated like heroes, and they absolutely should be. Like I said, we'll go into the live comments in just a moment. And I'll read some of the messages out because it's really, really important that we do that. Again, I just want to reiterate, NHS staff, key workers, people working in social care, people working in the banks, people working in the supermarkets, supermarket workers, you know, again, are becoming as vital as ever now. You know, the supermarkets, there's, you know, around where I live, there's about 3 or 4, maybe 5 probably, big supermarket chains and big supermarkets, and there's queues of hundreds of people trying to get in, and there's staff who have got to manage that. There's staff who have got to make sure that, you know, people are only purchasing the amount of items that they can purchase. So the supermarket workers are also in there. But like I said, I wanted to bring in a couple of examples of football, because prior to the announcement by the Premier League today, you know, it looked like they wanted to bring football back, and it looked like they had no regard for people's lives, they had no regard for people's safety, they had no regard for people's well-being. They just wanted to bring it back in any way, shape or form because of a fear of losing money. Now, like I said, obviously it's a little bit different now, because they've come out and they've said they won't bring it back until absolutely safe to do so, which is 100% the right decision, and they've pledged 20 million to the NHS, which is fantastic as well. But I just wanted to bring a couple of situations in where there's, obviously, when we spoke, I think it was last week or earlier this week, about the possibility of playing all 96 remaining Premier League games in sort of a couple of months spell in the middle of the country in a World Cup style situation, and we spoke about how it's not just 11 players from each side that go out and play footy and that's it. It's not just 22 men that come out and have a little bit of a kick about. It's coaches, it's backroom staff, it's fans, it's everything. And I wanted to talk through some examples of when the emergency services have been absolutely critical of football matches, and it's because, you know, everybody that comes on this channel, myself, everybody that, you know, talks to me through Twitter, Instagram, we all have one thing in common, and that's a love for Everton, but a love for football as well. So the thing we talk about most in common is football. So in order to help us all understand it, really, I've jotted down a couple of situations. Obviously, one of the most noticeable ones is the Andre Gomez situation. Just a few months back, the Andre Gomez situation, where, again, I'm not going to go into massive detail on what happened because we all know what happened, but Andre Gomez suffered a shocking injury and was helped instantly by the staff, by the St John's ambulance workers, by the paramedics that were on hand at that game. He was put into the ambulance, he was taken to hospital, and 4 months later, if that, we were seeing him again back on the football pitch playing football. Or just over 100 days after that horrific injury, he was back playing football in a blue shirt, back to fitness. Now, if there wasn't that quick response, if the workers that were there at that time, that were in that high-pressured situation, by the way, because if you're a paramedic at a football match and you're manning an ambulance, or you've got the responsibility to go on and see to a player who's had a horrific injury, there's a lot of pressure. Not only have you got the injury, not only have you got the situation in front of you that you've got to deal with, and you've got to determine very, very quickly what's happened and how, you know, it needs to be addressed, and what they need to do to you know, keep the player calm, and if there's anything they can do instantly to sort of help towards the injury. But you've also got 40,000 fans who are, at the end of the day, really concerned about what's going on the pitch, what's going on with the player, but also wanting to watch the rest of a football match. There's been a lot of situations, and we mightn't you know, think about this because it may be subconscious, but there's been a lot of situations, not just with Everton, but with football clubs around the world, where situations happen and you go, what's that commotion in the left hand corner there? And you might look at it for 20 seconds and then you're back on the game, or that player's had a nasty injury, gets, you know, he gets put in a stretcher, he leaves, and then you're back watching the game, and then you don't check then on that player or on that situation until after the game, when the game's finished. The focus is back on the game then. So these people are absolutely vital, the paramedics and the staff. on hand for the Andre Gomez situation. Like I said, they were brilliant. They took him away, they put him in, and they got him the treatment he absolutely needed straight away in order for, which ultimately seen him back in action within only a couple of months. I don't know whether we all remember the Fabrice Muamba situation a few years ago. Fabrice Muamba, a footballer playing for Bolton, I think he was at the time. I'm not 100% sure exactly what happened, but from what I recall, he had a heart attack, I think, or maybe a cardiac arrest on the pitch. And I actually believe a fan from out of the crowd jumped out of the crowd, told the stewards he was a paramedic, he was a doctor, he was trained, and actually was vital in saving this man's life. And that was a situation where that could have gone so wrong. That could have gone so wrong. He was in intensive care, I believe, for quite a while after that. And I actually remember this day to a T. I remember this day to an absolute T, because I went out for a meal with my family. I was only young. I was only quite young. And I remember going out for a meal with my family the day that happened. And I was absolutely distraught all night. All night I was distraught, because I was thinking, oh my God, I've just watched a football match, or I've just seen a clip on television or whatever of a footballer that's just been playing football like he would any other day, woke up, got his stuff ready for, boss, I'm going to go and have a game of footy. Obviously he's a Premier League footballer, so it wasn't like, oh my, I'm just going to go and have a game of footy with my mates, but effectively that's probably what it would have been to him. And then he's going to go home, say to his family. And at that point, when I was sitting in that restaurant, he was still in intensive care in the hospital, and it was unsure whether he would make it or not. And I was absolutely distraught all night. And I can prove that, if my dad ever wants to come on the channel one day, if he ever wants to show his face, which I'm trying to push him to do so, I'll say to him, do you remember that situation? It was Fabrice Muamba didn't play for Everton. I hadn't seen it live, but the fact I knew about it, and the fact I knew that a footballer had gone out to just play football, like I've done the Saturday morning, like I've watched Everton all my life do. He was in intensive care simply because of a situation that happened on the pitch that was out of anybody's control. And again, he recovered, he made the full recovery, and it was fantastic, it was brilliant. But again, subconsciously, you don't think about how he's made that full recovery, who's helped him to make that full recovery, who has been there on tap to make sure that his life is saved. And it's only when you sit back and you reflect on these and you think of the paramedics on that day, think of the man that jumped out the crowd to help, think of the hospital workers, think of the people that ultimately saved that man's life, and how heroic that is. Because these people go home every day and they do this every day. They're saving lives every single day. That's their job. Some of us, might have jobs to, I don't know, make websites or design certain things, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. But to think that there's people out there that's their job is to save lives every day. Again, this is another situation of that. There was a fan in the Gladys seat a few years ago who suffered an illness. Don't know whether it was a heart attack. I don't know. I don't want to speculate. But suffered an illness and had to be taken away from paramedics. Again, I think I seem to remember it. Paramedics took him away. They helped him and he got him better. Again, Mikel Arteta. Remember Mikel Arteta biting his tongue at Goodison Park. Again, he was helped straight away by the paramedics to get it back up, and he was back within a few months' time. James McCarthy, of course, we know, again, similar to the Andre Gomez one, snapped his leg. The paramedics were there straight away to be on tap and to be on hand, and to make sure that injury wasn't any worse than it couldn't get any worse than it was. And the reason I say this is because I still have this feeling, and I still have this fear, almost. It is a fear. It's a fear for humanity, that there's people out there that think that Premier League games and high-level football games, and any football game for that matter, can go ahead with just 11 lads going out and kicking football against 11 other lads with a few coaches, when it doesn't. There has to be so many paramedics, so many ambulance drivers, so many key workers, so many emergency services workers, police included, that are there on that day to be on hand in case anything like any of those 5 situations that I've just mentioned happen. So again, that's just a couple of situations, a few situations in football that have happened, a few situations that I've witnessed as well firsthand, that again like I said before, sorry, I've got a tickly throat here, get a little bit emotional, got a tickly throat. Let's have a drink so I don't keep coughing. Again, like I said before, where you see and you think, oh my god, what's happened there, are they okay? But then they get stretchered off, they go in the ambulance, and it's almost right back on the footy now, until you know, maybe an hour after the game when you go and you go, oh, how's Gomez? I wonder how Gomez is doing, or I wonder how McCarthy's doing, or I wonder, you know, let's check up on Fabrice Muamba. But the focus is always switched very quickly back to, right, what's going on the pitch? Now, start the game up now. Get him off, get him in an ambulance, get him sorted, start the game up. Whereas realistically, to those people that are there in front of that, looking at that leg break of Andre Gomez, looking at Fabrice Muamba in that situation, the last thing on their mind is, let's get this game sorted. But doesn't mean that they don't have the pressure of 40,000 people or 30,000 people, whatever, who they know are thinking, let's get the game back on. And it's not, you know, it's not to say that football fans are all horrible and they all don't feel, you have that feeling, because, you know, once that player's in that ambulance, we sort of have an assumption that they're going to be treated and they're going to be okay and everything will be fine. And that assumption comes from the hard work that the people that are, you know, the NHS staff and the people that are in that situation are doing to allow us to have that assumption of, well, they'll be okay. And you know, we had that assumption about Andre Gomez. I'm sure he'll be alright, I'm sure he'll be back soon, and he was. And everyone went, wow, what a recovery by Andre Gomez. But not a lot of people went, wow, think of the staff that worked on that injury when that happened. Think of the doctors, think of the nurses, think of the paramedics, think of the ambulance drivers that worked to make sure he was back to where he is now. So yeah, again, like I said, this team is about, you know, showing appreciation, and I want to read out some of the comments, and I will get into some of the comments in just a second about you know, about that, and like I said, if you know, feel free to comment about, you know, anything you want me to talk about. But if you get all your positive comments in about the NHS, whether you know somebody that works for the National Health Services, whether you know somebody that's a key worker working in social care, working in the banks, working in the supermarkets, get them in the comments, and let's give our positive messages, and our acknowledgement of the hard work that they are doing, because they are real life superheroes at the end of the day. The least that we can do, as you know, as a public or a civilization, is follow the advice that they are saying. If the NHS staff, if key workers, if people that are there witnessing these things firsthand are saying, unless absolutely necessary, stay indoors and don't leave your house, we shouldn't be going and playing football on the Astro. And again, I'm speaking out of first hand. I've watched every day this week. I don't know if it's the same group, but a group of 15, 20 lads playing footy on the Astro, who I can't guarantee because I don't know them, but I can pretty much put a lot of money on the fact that they're not all from the same family living in the same household. You know, they're on the Astro playing football. There's people that are still visiting their partners who live in different houses, and it's important that unless we absolutely necessarily have to leave the house, we don't do it, because again, you know, if you're thinking about anybody, if you think, you know what, I'm going to go and have a kickabout with my mates there, I've been stuck in for 3 weeks, I'm going to go and have a kickabout with my mates on the Astro because I'm bored and I want to, then just take a step back and think, actually, me having a kickabout with 10 of my mates could spread this virus to hundreds of people. Just by going and playing football for an hour could spread this virus to hundreds of people. Imagine the work that the doctors and nurses have already got on their hands now, and you know, the HCAs that have already got on their hands now. Imagine that if there's 100 more people that doesn't necessarily have to happen. If I just say to the lads, let's just stay in until it's safe to go. So yeah, like I said, you've got bank staff, social care workers, supermarket workers, paramedics, emergency services, you know, everybody that's out there risking their lives to save others. I just want to say, on behalf of me, on behalf of the channel, on behalf of everybody, a massive thank you. And a massive thank you for being heroic, and for being a real life hero, because you are real life superheroes, every single one of you. Union says Premier League clubs to consult players on 30% wage cut has resumption delayed. Yeah, I read that today as well. That was another part of the meeting. Obviously, we had the fact that football wasn't going to resume until absolutely safe to do so. We also had the fact that the Premier League were going to commit 20 million to the NHS, and they also said that they were going to consult teams about players taking pay cuts and about players you know, accepting pay cuts in order to sort of, you know, help other people that might not be getting the wage that the footballers are. Eugene also said, you're watching the Everton vs Man City game. It's from 2017, not 1997, tomorrow. I'll try and catch it, but I've got no promises. Reece says, hope you're staying safe, Cam. I'm staying safe. I am staying safe. I hope everybody else is staying safe as well. If you've purchased one of the badges that we've been showing over the last couple of days, then you know, I've put a little note in there just to tell everybody to stay safe and making sure that everybody is staying well. Chris says, hi pal, hope you're well. I'm not too bad, mate. I hope you're doing well, and you know, all the family's doing well and stuff. God says, that means a lot, Cam, since I work in a local grocery store where I live. Exactly, and you know, we're guilty of taking people that work in social care. We're guilty of taking people that work for the NHS for granted. Because we are guilty of doing that. We're guilty of going into a hospital and sort of having a little bit of an arrogance and an assumption that I'm going to leave and you know, these people that are paid to do this job will do this job for me. We take those people for granted, but can you imagine how many people took people that work in grocery shops, people that work in supermarkets, people that work in banks, people that are working in you know, other key parts of society that need to stay open in order to keep running, garages, things like that, garages that are helping the ambulances to stay on the road so that they can help more people. People, you know, the places of work that a lot of people take advantage of, and I think now we're finally, and rightly so, starting to recognise the hard work of these people. Because I know anybody that works in a supermarket, anybody that works in a grocery store, anybody that works in a garage now, they'll be working more than they've worked before. There's people that are working in our local supermarkets that I know are working bloody, you know, a week's work, you know, in a day, a week's work of hours that they'd usually do within a day, because they've got to be there to help other people. And you're absolutely spot on. So it says, sorry not being on recently, being at work, but day off today. No problem, mate, no problem. Thank you to you as well, Chris. I know you're working at a supermarket. Massive thank you to you. David says, what about us supermarket workers? Exactly. Let's give, you know, when we're outside and when we were clapping yesterday, it was for the NHS workers, it was for carers, but it was also for people that are working in supermarkets, people that are working in banks, people that, you know, paramedics, like I said, social care workers, you know, the NHS. It was for everybody that is putting their life at risk to save other people, and does put their life at risk to save other people every single day of the year, by the way. Before this virus, they were saving lives and they were putting their life at risk, and after the virus, they'll still be doing it as well. Ewan says, thumbs up for the NHS staff last night. Dashin says, hi Cam, NHS. Chris says, NHS wages should have footballers' wages. They should at the end of the day. I don't think anybody would disagree with that. One thing's for sure, is they should definitely have more than they're on at the moment, 100%. Loads of comments, thank you very much. Keep getting them in, keep spreading your positivity, keep spreading your positive words. And then says, hey Cam, hope all is well, stay safe everyone. I'm not too bad, I hope you're staying safe. She says, my wife is a nurse and it's been a madhouse with this virus. Shout out to all the supermarket and restaurant employees who are the most important people. Exactly, spot on, 100%. Dashin Dean says, let this sink him with the best left back in the world. Eugene says, big up the NHS staff right now, spot on. Wayne says, hi everybody, how's everybody doing? I'm not too bad, mate, personally. I hope you're doing well, and all of the family and everybody's doing well. Chris says, should, in my opinion, see how footballers like it, because footballers just walk up and down a pitch, and that's not saving lives. NHS are enough said. Well, the argument with the footballers, obviously it's difficult because footballers are paid privately by private companies and the NHS are paid by the government. So if we take anything out of this as a collective, and whether it be the 17 people currently watching this video, and by the way, if you're watching, get it spread, get it shared all over your social medias. Let's get as many people in here showing love, showing positivity, and showing their acknowledgement and their appreciation for all key workers and the NHS. Let's get as many people in here as possible. Whether it's the 17 people watching this, whether it's, you know, everybody else, I think footballers are paid privately and by private companies, and that, you know, it's a bit different in that case. I 100% agree with you. They should be paid the same amount of footballers, if not more, because they're doing a lot more for the country. But let's now remember, after this, like I said, that the government are paying the NHS, and it's the government that are deciding how much doctors, how much nurses, how much HCAs, how much social care workers are getting. So how about we make sure that at the end of this, the government realise, let's look at the people that have just saved, you know, a lot of people's lives here, and that have put their lives at risk to save other people's lives, and even some that have, you know, ultimately ended up, which sadly and ultimately ends up losing their lives whilst trying to help others. Let's start to take them a little bit more seriously, and let's start to give them a little bit more respect that they 100% deserve. But he doesn't says Chris, you should say 20% of the wages, but not all. They still have families to provide for. Yeah, I think obviously it wouldn't be, and it wouldn't be taking all of the footballers' wages and giving it to the NHS. I think he's trying to say give the NHS the same amount that footballers would earn. Dashin says, I'm Cal, by the way, guys, of course. Wayne says, not sure about this new facial arrangement you have going on. Isolation makes us do strange things. What facial is that? Me shocking stubble that you're going on about there? I need to shave it, mate, but I just haven't. Well, I can't even lie and say I haven't had the time. I have had the time, but I just haven't been bothered to do it. Jess says, I think Chris means swap footballers' wages with NHS wages, so footballers still get paid, but not as much as they are now. Yeah. Doswick says, hi, Whammy, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. Ewan says, you can do an Everton quiz one day. I'd look into it. definitely look into it. Rim says, all good, does you. Reece says, what do you reckon about the Bernard rumours? I don't think Bernard will leave. Chris says, yeah, that's what I meant. At least you understand. There you go. William says, hey, Jess. Jess says, hey. Everton TV says, hello, Cam and Jess. Hello, mate. I hope you're doing well. Hernandez says, my wife is a labour and delivery nurse, but now they're adding more shifts to help in the intensive care units where the virus patients are, because they're getting a lot busier. Exactly. And you know, again, I was thinking about this today. I was thinking about this earlier, and I was actually talking to my dad about this, because obviously, I said before, my dad works in social care. I actually work with my dad, and we had to go out to one of our houses to provide some technical support. And I was talking to my dad about this on the way there, and I said, I think we sort of forget, and we know that everybody is fighting the virus, and that, you know, a lot of the NHS's focus, and rightly so, is on fighting the virus and is on getting over it. But I think we sort of seem to forget that there's still going to be people that have got other illnesses. There's still going to be people that you know, need massive, you know, life-threatening operations. There's still going to be people that are pregnant and having babies. There's still going to be people that, you know, break their ankle, you know, somehow by falling off the bike when they're on their hours exercise. There's still going to be people that the NHS are having to deal with and having to isolate, that aren't suffering from coronavirus, and having to take time to look, you know, to look after and to manage, that aren't suffering from coronavirus. And not only is it massively hard to focus time on those other people that aren't suffering but are suffering from other things that need help, but it's also very, very difficult to isolate those people from the people that have, obviously, that are suffering and that have contracted, or that, you know, potentially have contracted the virus. Because if you've got 50 people coming in that have contracted the virus that need looking after, and you've got 50 people that are coming in that haven't contracted the virus but that have got other things that they need they need helping with, and you mix them together, that's all 100 people that have then contracted the virus, plus you've got the other, you know, issues and problems and injuries on top of that. So it's really important that those people are also stage segregated, and again, that's a massively hard job. Jess says, hi, yeah. Dosby says, me too, me thanks. I'm eating a crappy flaccid orange at the moment. Nice. Wimmy says, nice visuals, cheers, Dos. Dino says, you okay, Jess? Wimmy says, hey, Hernandez, how's it going on your guys' side? Jess says, yeah, you. Evertonian David says, it feels like the world is on a sinking ship with nowhere to go. It does feel a little bit like that, and again, I've been trying to spread a lot of positivity during this time, and as much positivity as I can, in saying that I believe we will get through this, and I believe that we will be okay. And I also believe that, you know, we need to carry on showing this appreciation and showing this acknowledgement after we've got through it. But I think as a human race, as long as we do what we're told and as long as we do what we're advised, I do feel like we will get through it, and I do feel like we'll be okay. You know, just at the moment, we have to do all we can to fight it, and if that's staying in your house and not leaving your house for a sustained period of time, whether it be 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, then, you know, so be it. At the end of the day, we're just going to have to deal with that. Dina says, I'm good. What are you from? William says, ex-Evertonian lad, it's not all that bad, it's going to get better. And then it says, everyone is on only essential travel in the state of Virginia. Only supermarkets and fast food restaurants are open for takeaway. I am lucky and work from home, but have to keep myself busy. Exactly, and you know, a little bit like the state of Virginia, everybody's on only essential travel. Here, only leaving the house for medicines or for food or an hour's exercise a day, or work if you absolutely have to. Dave says, after the virus is under control, we're going into a recession, just to lift the mood. Everton interview says, can't stay too long, mate. Almost at 300 subscribers now, so I'm in a decent mood. Stay safe, lad, and hope to talk to you soon. Thank you very much. Stay safe to you too and your family. If you haven't already, go and check out Evertonian TV. Get him to 300 subscribers. Go and subscribe to him. Hernandez says, excited for this to be over and walk us out with my The Mighty Blues badge. Yes, yours will be posted tomorrow morning. I have to go through the post office to post it, obviously, because it's international. But I'll be going tomorrow morning and posting it. So yeah, thank you very much as well for purchasing one of them. Whammy says, yeah, Dave, there will be a massive repercussions economically, but we will get through that too, and maybe in the long run this will bring us all together. I hope so. I really, really do hope so, because if it teaches us anything, you know, we haven't suffered through a world war like, you know, the maybe a couple of generations did, or we haven't suffered through an economic, like, sort of fall, maybe like the last generation did. This is our sort of massive issue, if you like, that we all have to come together and fight together, and I really do hope it does bring us all together. Women says, maybe this is impetus to wipe the global debt. Seems all the countries shouldn't be repaying massive debts under these circumstances. Maybe reconsider the global finance structure, potentially, and he says, sorry for being political. No, I think there's a lot of politics going around at the minute. Hernandez says, ideas for other YouTube channels, Politicam, having a go at politicians. It's a clever name, to be honest. It is a clever name, and you know, might look into it. I don't like to talk about politics because A, I don't know an awful lot about it, and B, I think all politicians are very, very similar. And I think a politician's job is to, not really to implement things, but to convince people that they will be implementing things. I've just basically called most politicians a liar there, but there you go. RP says Premier League is considering playing games in China. Absolutely ridiculous idea. They were yesterday. They come out now and said that they're not going to play any games until it's absolutely safe to do so, which is 100% the right decision, and a decision that should have been made 2 months ago, to be honest with you. Ewan says Everton might be getting Gareth Bale and Aaron Ramsey. Highly doubt that'll happen because there's absolutely no chance playing games in China when it all started. I don't think there's a chance of that either. But it was a rumour. It was a rumour, definitely. Where are we? We're not getting Bale. David says this would never happen. Spoons. If Jess works in banking, then she may explain it better. But there has to be a power balance, which is ultimately down to product. Potentially, Jess, if you're in the comments, can you explain it? If not, obviously don't worry. William says we don't want Bale. His back is a mess, and he just wants to play golf. We've seen Adam Ramsey. We wouldn't get Bale. We couldn't afford Gareth Bale. We couldn't afford his wages. We couldn't afford his demands. We simply, it would be unrealistic. Plus his age, plus his injury issues. I wouldn't mind taking Aaron Ramsey maybe on a loan, but again, I don't know whether we'll be able to afford his wages either, to be honest with you. You can say James Rodriguez favours Everton. I don't know whether he'd be good for us, but again, Everton interviews always grateful for the fantastic people who work for the NHS, heroic people exactly, plus all key workers as well. And great thanks, my family are too, hope your family and friends are too. We're good, mate, we're good at the moment. Obviously, it's a tough time for a lot of people, it's a tough time for everybody, it's a struggle, but we just have to do what we can to save lives at the end of the day. Stephen says, top man Cam, thanks for your time doing this. No problem at all, mate. It's important that we give our thanks and we give our appreciation, and we, again, in times like this when we're all sat at home and we've not got a lot to do and we've not got a lot to talk about and we've not got a lot to focus on, maybe take a step back and realise, actually, let's look at the people that are there who haven't got time on their hands, who are working constantly, near enough 24 hours a day. It's on their mind. Do you think the NHS workers or the social care workers go home after a 12-hour shift saving people's lives and think, you know what, switch off here, let's bang a little bit of Friday night dinner on or bang a little bit of South Park, and they don't, their mind is constantly working. So let's think about, these people in these tough times. Winchester, come on, Cam, Kia, who you think inflicted this on people apart from China or elites, scumbag government that way behind 9/11 JFK, every other false event in history. They call every death a coronavirus. Now, it's not false, but I'm not going to go into the conspiracies because I could be here all day, because I do love a good conspiracy, but it's not about conspiracies. Andy says, hi Cam, I'm a cleaner in one team of 5 in a building that usually has between 400 to 450 people in a day, but at the minute they're down to about 10 people that can't work from home. It's so quiet at the minute, it's strange. Again, cleaners, another group of people that maybe go unnoticed, that maybe some people don't consciously appreciate, but the cleaners in the hospitals, the cleaners in, as Andy says there, buildings, cleaners all around the world that are still having to work consistently. And again, cleaners and another example of people that are faced directly with the virus, that are there in the front line, faced with it, that are having to make sure that they're cleaning services that could potentially be infected. So massive thank you to all of the cleaners as well. Because I get emotional coming for the NHS because they're mostly the ones who save lives, and sometimes get emotional that my family and friends are proud of me for working in supermarkets, exactly, and they should be, and I'm proud of you at the moment, and everybody's proud of everybody that as a key worker, including yourself. Chris says, even though it's not as vital as the NHS workers, but it's still vital, and if there was no supermarket workers, nobody'd getting food and nobody'd be able to survive then, would they? So you're still saving lives. Went to Sean Atwood, watch some of his does 5G cause coronavirus. I might have a look at them at the end of the stream, but I don't want to go into conspiracies now. It's not about that. Stephen says Bernard rumours. Don't believe it myself personally. Think it's just maybe I don't know. Maybe journalists trying to make stuff up to pass the time at the moment. Jess says, what am I explaining? Sorry, Cam. Missed it. Where was it before? Where me spoke about it's an impetus to wipe the global debt. Seems all these countries shouldn't be repaying massive debt under these circumstances. Maybe reconsider the global finance structure. And David says that would never happen if Jess works in banking, then she can explain it a little bit better. But there has to be a power balance, which I don't know. Could you explain it a little bit better? I don't know. Chris says, I agree, Premier League should have made the decision 2 months ago. They should have. David says, why financial balance is important for each country, thus creating the power full powerhouses. And Wayne says, ignore transfer rumours, loved your dad's collection. Thank him, was a good short, mate. Thank you very much, really, really do appreciate it. I'll thank him, I'll go down in a minute and I'll give us thanks. And Anders says, conspiracies, Cam breaking down conspiracies. You know what, it's a potential personal channel video, it is. But anyway, again, we're going off topic a little bit. Before I end the team, I just want to say again a massive, massive, massive thank you to all NHS workers, to everybody working on the front line, to all of the key workers, to anybody working in social care, working in the banks, working in the supermarkets, working in the hospitals, cleaners, anybody that is out there facing this deadly virus and putting their lives at risk every day in order to save others. Thank you so much. You are real superheroes, and don't worry about the Batmans that you'll watch on the telly because there's nothing else to watch, or they'll stick loads of Marvel films on, they'll stick loads of Batman films on, they'll stick loads of Superman films on, they'll stick loads of everything on. Don't worry about them because you are the real superhero. So when you're watching them films, think, I mightn't have a shield and I mightn't have a suit and I mightn't look like Robert Downey Jr., but I'm as much of a hero. In fact, you're not. You're more of a hero than any comic superhero will ever be or could ever be, and that's the truth. Dave says, lol. James says, my missus is a key worker at 60 and she still has to do 24-hour shifts and still only paid for 16 hours because she sleeps in work for 8 hours. It's disgusting. By the way, she's a psychiatric nurse. Exactly. Again, another really good example, James, of somebody putting their life at risk and putting their time and you know, putting other people in front of themselves and not being repaid from it fairly. And that's why at the end of all of this, I think we do need to go to the government as a society and say, listen, you know, change this, because you're all right, Boris Johnson standing on your doorstep clapping, but you're the one who can make these decisions, so make those decisions. And Jess says it's hard because obviously the balance involves important goods and stuff from countries, which now obviously is a lot more difficult now. Yeah, spot on. And David says, I like that, Jess. Anyway, that's going to do it for today's video. If you want to, please do leave a like, just to, again, to show your support for everybody working on the front line and for all the key workers. If you're new to the channel as well, feel free to subscribe. Get this video send it round to anybody you know that may be struggling at the moment. You know, any key workers that you know that are working long, hard hours, that are putting their lives. Send it round so they can really know just how you know, just how appreciative we all are as a community, as a channel, and as a human race for their hard work. So send it round, get it shared. Like I said, leave a like for all of the key workers, including all of the NHS staff, and you know, all key workers. If you want to, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. If you're interested in a badge, I don't want to talk too much about it because it's not about that today, but if you're interested, come and DM us over on Twitter, MightyBluesYT. We've still got a few left, so yeah, we'll get that sorted as well if you're interested in one of our Mighty Blues badges. You can see those in the last team as well if you want to go and see what they look like. Chris said, take care everyone, let's stick together as a country, listen to the advice and stay safe. Spot on, couldn't have put it better myself. Mac and Cheese says, imagine being asked to fight this to the human eye, invisible killer 16 hours a day, watching people die and having to make that hard decisions but still going to work every day on a budget. Exactly mate, you couldn't have put it better. You couldn't have put it, imagine that, and people are having to do that every single day. And that's why it's important that we give appreciation and we show appreciation. Eugene says, see you about the toffee, stay well, be safe, and are you well? I'm not too bad, mate, I hope you're well, and I will be safe, and everybody else be safe as well. David says, that is absolutely disgusting, James. It really is. And Chris says, I appreciate everyone who appreciates me working in supermarkets and all other key works. We do. We really do. Anyway, that's going to do it today. Big thanks for watching. Jess says, all the amazing workers, keep doing what you're doing. We will fight this together. Spot on again. Couldn't have put it better myself. Big thanks for watching. Like I said, share this to any key workers that you know, anybody working in the NHS, anybody working on the front line, just to show them that, you know, we are showing appreciation and we do genuinely appreciate the work that they're doing. Big thanks for watching. Leave a like for the NHS, leave a like for key workers, leave a like for social care workers, leave a like for bank staff, leave a like for everybody that's on the front line at the moment. Thanks for watching. Subscribe if you want. Leave a like for everybody that's dedicating their lives and risking their lives to save others. I'll be back on Monday at 5:15 for another live stream. Big thanks for watching. Big thank you to everybody, NHS staff, everybody, all frontline workers. Massive thank you from me, from everybody, and yeah, I'll see you soon on the Mighty Blues.